Hey, good people. Hola, mi gente. MsMalcolmHughes here. Welcome back. Recently I was sitting here and I was thinking through Sister Souljah's, just like all of the books she's written. And I was trying to think of which one I thought was the best. And so I decided to come and share that with you all because I think my answer might surprise y'all. So today I'm going to rank every single Sister Souljah book. I've read every book she's written. So let's go through it. And I'm curious who y'all like. I'm curious what book y'all think is the best book she's ever written. Drop that down in the comment section below. I think I know what most of y'all will say, but surprise me. So, for the purpose of today's review, I am going to categorize the books into four categories. First up, we have She Did That. Next, we have Good Job, SS. Then we have It Was Cool. And the last one is Not My Speed. So, we have all seven of her books here, and let's get into it. So, first up, we have No Disrespect. And this is the only nonfiction book that's here. This one is more of a memoir autobiography of her life, where she really reflects on things that contributed to who she is, the style of writing that she has, where she stands, and her philosophy in life, and really kind of intended to be like a guide for like young women coming up trying to find their way. I remember reading this when I was like way young, elementary school, or maybe early high school. But I remember enjoying it. Not my favorite book at all, but good messaging. A lot of the work that she had done with children still really resonates. I remember that heavily. And so I think that her goal was met. And so for that reason, I'm going to put this under good job, SS. Good job on that. All right. So next up, we have A Deeper Love Inside, which is the Portia Santiago story. If you're not familiar, Portia is the little sister of Winter Santiago. She was not the baby. She was the one that was in the middle. She's Winter's little sister. And in this one, we get her background story because we never really got to know what happened with Portia after everything went down with the family. And so in this one, I remember just getting through this book, like staying up all night, reading it as soon as it came out. And I just remember loving it, loving the journey of Porsche and everything that happened with her, just the hardships she had to overcome, her own like psychological struggles that she was dealing with, and everything that she went through, and just how it all came together as an adult and how she came out on the other side. I remember really, really loving this book. So for me, A Deeper Love Inside is definitely She Did That. Like, she did that. That's one of my favorite Sister Souljah books, without a doubt. Next up, we have A Moment of Silence. This is the third book in the Winter Midnight series. And Midnight is a character from the Coldest Winter Ever that everyone absolutely fell in love with. And we all wanted to know more about him. What was his background? And so we got that with the Midnight series. And so for me, A Moment of Silence was the one that I found the most frustrating. I'll talk more about the first one and the second one with those, but I thought those was really well done. This one was the one that was most closely connected to the Coldest Winter Ever and the storyline there. And we all thought we were going to get like crucial and key information about Midnight's time in prison and how he ended up there and everything that happened inside. And though we got some of that, for me, my biggest frustration was that I felt like the storyline changed and we didn't get the background on Midnight in the way that we thought we would based on the first book. And so this was my least favorite of the three, honestly. So for me, it was cool. It was cool. Next, we had Midnight 2, and that is Midnight and the Meaning of Love. And this one, it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I remember first reading the Midnight series, and we got to know so much about him that we didn't know because he was now getting his own series. We got to know more about his family, where they came from, how they ended up in that apartment, how was the transition for him, what was his life like balancing religion versus this new social and cultural environment that he was in, and how did all of that impact him. And so for me, coming off of the banger of number one, number two really still grabbed me and I wanted to know more. And I was so excited for book three. And so for me, Midnight 2 is she did that. She did that for sure. Next, we get to Life After Death. This was supposed to be the sequel, the 20-year follow-up to The Coldest Winter Ever. This one, we had Winter, who we thought was dead for most of the book, was going through purgatory, trying to figure out what happened to her, really having to come to terms with everything that she had done in life and decide for herself what type of life she was going to lead coming back out on the other side. I remember my review talking about this, comparing this to Dante's Inferno. And just like the last chapter was the only thing I really enjoyed. I understood what Sister Souljah was trying to do, but like for me, it just did not hit. So for me, this was definitely a not my speed. But I am still going to read book 3. So there you have it. Next up, we have Midnight One. And this book for me, as someone who, like so many of us, fell in love with Midnight. He was one of our original book boyfriends. We all just wanted more of Midnight. We wanted to know why he was dissing Winter so hard, and just the moral code that he stood upon, this secretive and mysterious man. We wanted to know what was behind the allure. Who was he really? And I felt like this was like the first introduction of that. And I thought it was so good. We got to watch him navigate trying to be a young man in the new environment. How does he stay true to himself and what he's been taught, but having to deal with the reality of his new social environment? How can he protect the women in his life? How will he love? How does his religion hold up when compared to what's before him and what's being offered to him? And how does he maneuver when he has access to so many things, but it goes against what he internally believes? And how does he stay in shape? And what's his like workout regimen? Just all the details. I felt like we got so much about Midnight. We learned so much about him, and I really, really enjoyed it. So this was definitely a she did that again. Last but not least, the one that started this whole journey, The Coldest Winter Ever. As we all know, this is the story of Winter Santiago, and her daddy, Ricky Santiago, is a huge kingpin. But you know, when you wear the crown, a lot of people want to attack. And so we get to watch the family navigating that. And then how does Winter choose to live life once her entire world is disrupted, and the choices that she makes and the consequences of her actions? This was really a hood warning. Like, a lot of people glorified a certain lifestyle, but Sister Souljah was giving you that full 360 view, right? That aerial view of what it all means, what it all contains. Now, The Coldest Winter Ever did start it all, right? And so that's always going to be a classic. That's always the one. It's so many. Gosh, if you read urban romance and urban fiction, you can see Sister Souljah's footprint everywhere. But for me, I've read The Coldest Winter Ever 3 times now. I've read it at different points in life. I originally read it when I was entirely too young. I read it again when I was a young adult, read it again as a full adult. And it's not my favorite. I don't know if it holds up over time. Obviously, it holds up. It's the original. It's the classic. But it's not my favorite. It's not my favorite. But because it started everything, it was so impactful, you can't put it too low. So I'm going to definitely say good job, SS. Like, for me, Coldest Winter Ever, I think she's written better books. But The Coldest Winter Ever will always be that girl because she was the one that started it all. This is where I ranked all the books by Sister Souljah. What do y'all think? Would y'all agree or disagree? Write down in the comment section below. Which ones have y'all read? Are y'all interested in reading it? Will y'all read the new book? Drop all of that information below. I'm excited for it. Like I said, as the date approaches where the book will be released, I'll do a prediction video, see if I'm right or if I'm wrong. But I love that after all this time, we're all still invested and excited to read the works of Sister Souljah. And I just appreciate right now the space that we're in and how the genre has grown. And it's just so huge and has so many good works. So y'all would definitely continue to see more of those reads coming to the channel. That is it for me. I am Miss Malcolm Hughes, one who believes that books are sometimes better than people. Until the next one, please remember to give time, to be kind to each other, and to have the best day of your life on purpose. Peace. O dabo. Adios. Ciao.